Welcome back to the Quarter Mile Podcast. I don't know if you can hear the ambulance sirens in the background or not. And if you can't, it's really weird that I'm mentioning them. But we're here at the Quarter Mile Podcast.
Ooh, sound the alarm.
On episode 6. I know. It was such a big deal. The police, they were like, someone must be injured from the awesomeness of this podcast.
Exactly, because we're
killing it.
Show-stopping and... yeah, killing it. I guess that's the only one, actually, that's good.
No, I like show-stopping. We're literally, I don't know. We're so glad you're with us on the Quarter Mile Podcast, episode 6. We're reviewing Fast and Furious 6, so that's pretty exciting.
Fast 6, yeah.
Bailey, is anything exciting or awesome? Wow, awesome?
Let's see here, awesome.
Yeah. What awesome things do you have going on? Awesome should be the opposite of awesome. So awesome is like good stuff. Awesome is like, this made me feel like an ass. So. A little. So, yeah.
Well, I decided to kind of go back to home base with a job. Not going to say where I work just for disclosure because I don't want y'all to actually pop up there.
She's an assassin.
I'm assassin.
Private person. Assassin.
I will, jab. So that's pretty nice. And I'm just kind of finding a balance of that with life again, I guess, and kind of trying to focus on music a little bit more. But... we'll get there when we get there. Right now, I'm just kind of enjoying the slow parts and taking a breather. So just so y'all know, you need to take a breather. If you're not taking a break in life, then you're not living. You're just literally aimlessly going. You need to take a present breather. Just take 3 seconds right now and just kind of realize you're present in this moment. And then we're good. Fast and Furious, quarter mile at a time.
Yeah, live your life a quarter mile at a time. Go ahead and pause this podcast for 3 seconds.
Pause this podcast. Or if you're driving, don't.
Yeah, maybe not that. Just close your eyes.
Just close your eyes and listen to the voice.
That's cool.
Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much. What about you, Drew? How have you been? What have you been doing?
I've been good. So this month... in June. It's been pretty chill, but getting a lot of things going on, kind of expanding what I'm doing. So when I first started this entertainment journey, it was mostly just performing stand-up comedy. But now with the podcast, with the Clean Comedy Collective, which is a group of show producers we put on clean shows, with teaching stand-up comedy, with consulting with comedians. It's everything's just expanded. So this month has been a lot of like rebranding. And actually I have a group now. We branded it Quarter Mile Entertainment, totally based off of like the name of this podcast and the rationale of bringing quarter mile moments to everything. So that's something exciting. And then last month in May, which I know our last episode was at the end of May, but like I hadn't been talking to you since like earlier in May. So since then, I went on a bit of a tour and I hit I was like in Vermont and Atlanta and Kansas. I forgot Kansas exists, but it's still there. And so I got to do a lot of shows and travel, and that's the most fun part of comedy for me is when I get to travel. So that's cool. But this month and next month is a lot more just kind of staying at home base and kind of similar doing what you're doing, like kind of staying local, kind of recalibrating, figure things out. Kind of goes back to like what you were saying, like taking it a little bit slower. You know, I think that's important. We have some really exciting news about just upcoming Quarter Mile podcast stuff. I think the most important thing is September 21st when we record our 9th episode, when we review Fast 9. We are actually doing a live episode recording in Memphis, Tennessee at the High Tone.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be awesome. There will be opportunity for people to come and be in the audience while we're recording.
You can be a part.
Absolutely. And we'll have space, too, where people can, like, interject their opinions. And we're still figuring out the fundamentals and how to do what we want to do. But it's going to be a really cool episode. It's going to be interactive for anyone who's in the audience. Or if you just want to come and watch it, you're more than welcome to. Again, this is in Memphis, Tennessee at the High Tone on September 21st. And it's kind of interesting. Memphis right now, according to our statistics of our podcast, Memphis is our #1 place that people are listening to.
That makes sense.
Our top 3 are Memphis, Nashville, and Jackson, which also...
that makes a lot of sense.
Right? Like that's like our 2 homes, and then
it's our demographic.
So anyway, so we really hope you guys come to that. If you're in Memphis, it's really easy for you to come to it. If you're in Jackson, not that big of a drive. And you know what? If you're in Nashville, suck it up and come.
Exactly.
I'm coming from Nashville. You should too.
There will be information about it on our Facebook page, and I'm sure other pages, but it's at the Quarter Mile Podcast. And also, yeah, again, Memphis, it's if you can drive, do it, be a part of the family.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a free event.
Join us.
We'll accept donations, but it is a free event, and you can get your ticket as early as right now as you're listening to this podcast. We have the stuff up there. Yeah. So while you're driving, as you're taking your moment, as you're listening to this podcast, go ahead and pull your phone out and go ahead and get that ticket.
While you're driving.
Yep.
That's not. It's cool.
Keep up with us on our socials, on all the things that we do. The Quarter Mile Podcast on most things except for TikTok. It's just Quarter Mile Podcast.
Right, because they hate us.
So we are on episode 6. We are on movie 6 of the Fast and Furious. We are for sure going to be doing 10 episodes and finishing up the season. A lot of people have been asking me about season 2. I'll be honest with here on the podcast, it'd be weird if I was lying this entire time. Actually, we're not even filming. We're just in Bailey's room talking to ourselves. We do have a plan for season 2. We are excited about the idea of season 2, and we love doing this podcast. As Bailey kind of mentioned earlier, we both are busy people. We have a lot going on.
Very.
If you want a season 2, if you're listening to this podcast and it is literally the highlight of your life, first of all, thank you. We appreciate that. Secondly, the most accurate way to guarantee a season 2 is if you donate or help sponsor this podcast or share some money so that we can help pay for podcast costs.
Or just gas money.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Some of us woke up at 6 a.m. and drove to Jackson, Tennessee. So, yeah.
Who wants to do that?
So here we are.
Surprise!
Fast and Furious 6. So fun fact about this movie is it actually has 2 titles, right? So Furious 6 is what Justin Lin wanted to call it. When you watch that really cool trailer at the end, it still says Furious 6, which is his way of kind of being like, that's the movie title and I'm sticking to it.
Race Wars.
However, right, Race Wars would take, I'm thinking Race Wars has got to come back some point. I guess the executives or Universal or someone higher up than the movie directors this is so dumb to me, but it's funny, was afraid that just calling the movie Furious 6, people wouldn't understand that it was part of Fast and Furious. So they told them that they had to change it to Fast and Furious 6. And I just love that there's someone in an office somewhere that looked at the movie poster with Vin Diesel, The Rock, Paul Walker, all the cars, saw that it was Furious 6, and was like, I don't know, man, it just doesn't seem like this would connect with the rest of the movies.
I guess not. What is it? I don't think anybody would confuse it with Ocean's 8.
Right, no, they're like, oh, this is the new Batman movie? Finally, another Star Wars movie, and they're bringing Paul Walker into it.
Oh my gosh, that explains them going back to Tokyo Drift.
Right, so.
This is the 4th episode? It's crazy. Wait. Who's got the lightsaber?
In everything except for the American releases, it's Furious 6. And when you watch the American movie, it's still Furious 6. However, on all the DVD covers and stuff like that, it was Fast and Furious 6. So it actually has 2 titles. It came out in 2013. Yeah. I don't remember what I was doing during this movie. I know I marathoned it with my friends. I was either just back into Nashville, or I was still living in Kentucky, finishing up the youth ministry job I was doing there. I was probably brand new to stand-up comedy. So I probably was but I genuinely, I've been thinking about this for a month. I remember when I saw Fast 7 in theaters, I remember when I saw Fast 5 in theaters. I've had a random story for each episode, but this one is maybe I didn't exist in 2013. I don't even remember.
And I was in surgeries most of the time, but this time around, I was pretty much at the time kind of just done with most of all of that. So that's good. Good for me for getting through my childhood, I guess.
I'm glad, yeah.
But I think I was finishing up Taekwondo, a martial arts.
Did you get a black belt or
but
a
I was in
ninja
middle
costume
school
or something?
Yeah, I did. I got a black belt.
Have you ever had a real life fight scene like they do in Fast and Furious where you utilized your Taekwondo? Have you ever gotten into a bar fight and
well,
or do you have any cool fight stories? Is basically what I'm asking.
I have one, and it was I fought somebody when I was in 1st grade or 2nd grade or something, and I think I was a yellow green belt or something at the time. I'm pretty sure it was at the new park or new playground that they had built at our elementary school, and I had first started Taekwondo. I was maybe 2 years in, possibly, so I was big for my britches. So an 8-year-old.
You're I can karate you, and I'm 2 years.
I can karate chop you, which is not even the correct term for Taekwondo. Different one, I guess. But I would also, I don't know. I just had too much confidence. But my friend was being picked on the playground, and it was a girl being picked on by a little dude, which we all know now that's probably what he was just having a crush or something. It was stupid, but I was like, oh, well, I'm Vin Diesel, so I'm gonna beat you up, you know. So I went over to him and I was like, I'm a yellow green belt. I can beat you up. I'm in Taekwondo. I'm trying. And he's like, no, you can't. But this was elementary school, and it was a boys, so let's think about this here. Most of the girls usually got a little bigger than the guys within, like, the very beginning of elementary school and middle school.
Yeah, we don't start growing until, like,
I was always tiny, but this guy was tinier than me.
Wow.
I know. I had the higher ground.
Did you beat up a small person? Is this where this story's going? I've been on your side.
He was beating up a small person. He was beating up my friend that was a girl, and he was a guy, and it was in elementary school. So this isn't fair. So I just grabbed him and I pushed him down to the ground. This is all in my baby Bailey head. Let's say that this actually happened, because did it? I don't know,
sure.
Fabricated at least in my memory. And I pushed him down to the ground, and I grabbed his arm and I put it on his back, kind of like they do in the movies with, like, the cops, you know. That wasn't even a Taekwondo move. I was just tired of him.
You were a vigilante is what you were.
I was a vigilante. And I was like, nobody can see this. Yeah.
I love it. I would love to see
Innocent
video
Bailey.
footage of that, you know, in the playground, and then I'd love to play, like, then make a video where I'm playing action music in the background. So that's going to be part of your intro.
This moment.
I love it. So I had one vigilante moment in my life. I did.
Tell it.
So I should say that.
Tell us your vigilante moments.
I love all those superhero shows. One of my favorite shows when it was on air was Arrow. Did you ever watch Arrow?
I loved Arrow. My brother loved Arrow.
So that was a great show. And so, like, I always loved, like, when he was, like, tough and like, you know, like, you don't want to be here and stuff like that. Attractive. So, like, fair enough. Bailey's like, I loved the salmon ladder. So I was driving back. I used to live in Antioch, Tennessee, and if you know anything about Nashville, Antioch's kind of a rougher area, right?
Yeah.
So I was driving back to my house or apartment at the time, and I saw something where you just kind of know something's up. Like, there were this teenagers kind of at night, it was late at night, and, like, he just seemed a little bit more handsy and like. You know, like, I could just tell that, you know, it wasn't a great area. So I stopped my car and I got out and I was like, is everything okay? And, like, the way they said yes didn't make me feel like everything was okay. So, like, I looked at this guy, and with all, like, the masculinity that I rarely have in my voice and stuff like that, I was like, this doesn't end well if you stick around. And the dude, like, left, and I felt like such an action hero. And then, like, I felt bad because now there's this, like, teenage girl that's just, like, out in the middle of the road. So, like, without thinking about, like, oh yeah, I'm a stranger old dude that she's never met, I was like, oh, do you need a ride back somewhere? And she was like, no.
Yeah,
and then I was like, okay. And then, like, that was, like, in hindsight, I was like, okay, that's fair. Like, that's fair. So, but I feel like I was.
You still helped, though.
So,
that was nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a Vin Diesel moment.
Right? Yeah. What's your Vin Diesel moment?
I'm not saying The Rock, because they don't give him good lines. I'm sorry. What are those?
When we start talking about our opinions of the movie, I have a small tirade I want to go on about The Rock.
I would love that. I'm here for it.
Cool. Okay, so movie came out 2013, and all the usuals came back, all the big actors, the big names, the people, and thanks to that awesome trailer at the beginning of the movie, you got to, like, recap, like, oh my goodness, we're still going, this series is still happening. Like, I feel so connected to these actors, and, like, and the trailer made me think of it. And so, an actor that came for this movie that's kind of a bigger name now, Gina Carano, I might be saying her name wrong, but she played Riley Hicks. She was the Rock's, like, Rock's lieutenant who ended up becoming the spy.
Yeah, she was familiar. I didn't know what else she played on.
Did you watch The Mandalorian?
So I have seen a little bit.
Okay, so she had a big role in Mandalorian. So I was interested to see if you knew, like, her whole backstory being a Star Wars fan. So she like had, like, her role in Mandalorian was, like, killer. She did, like, a lot of good stuff with it. Probably going off for maybe a possible spin-off there, the way that her people receive reviews. But she what started with maybe, like, a small, you know, like, I could see I thought was maybe a small, because, like, I think people really wanted to hear her talk about what her pronouns were, and for a while she didn't respond, which I mean is fair. Like that's her information. Like, and people didn't like
business.
that. But then like she threw out some controversial comments on Twitter about it that pissed some people off. But then she went like, and it's one of those, and I'm not going to take too much of our time on our podcast to talk about it. It's one of the, like, then she went super right conservative on a whole lot of things. Part of it might have been because he got cast for like a Ben Shapiro movie or something
that makes sense.
that. But like she like what started off with just like some pronoun debate turned into like her saying some real crazy stuff. And whether you agree with it or not, it's your thing. But like I don't personally agree with it. But like also I feel like maybe if you're an actor, you think like, oh, I shouldn't say this where people can quote it and use it later. Like,
at the end of the day, just don't be a butthole.
Yeah. So she's an example of someone who got canceled.
Wow.
I have a hard time with that because I think, sometimes I think like it's crazy to think like someone's lost work over, I don't know. But at the same time, like when the more I read about the crazy things she was saying, I was like, oh, I mean, that kind of makes sense.
It's not people's, I was going to say, it's not people's opinions that get them kicked out of, I guess, the appearance of Hollywood and whatever. It's more of like the extraness that they add into it, and then they get a little aggressive with these things. But I don't know. Sometimes things are just not at the right time or the right place.
But this movie, 2013, was way before all of that for Gina, and so she's also a former MMA fighter as well. Oh, yeah, and so cool. I liked her in this movie. I thought she did some fight scenes and stuff like
bad
that.
Mama Jama.
So yeah.
I have a theory after watching this sixth movie is that, which I am a part of this generation, so don't knock me for saying this. I am a part of this cancel culture generation. It's a specific type of cancel culture generation that I think Fast and Furious is kind of a part of. Like on the TikTok especially, that's a lot of my generation that's saturated in that. Absolutely. And like, it's like, but honestly, even younger, like 16 even, and those people are even more in the whole cancel culture, which like, I get it a lot, but at the same time, these were made, like this movie, I guessed that it was between 2012 or 2013, and I was 1,000% correct. Yep. It is 2013. So let's think about this. This was 11 years ago. It's just different. And also, it's one of those movies that they weren't making it to be offensive in that way. It's literally just one of those stupid bro movies that's fun, fast-paced, and all that. So, this is just, I guess, a really quick disclaimer that movies are movies. They're entertainment for a reason. So for those of you guys that get upset about certain things in movies, I get it. That's fine. Just don't watch it. Yeah. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say that for all the people out there on social media that's dogging people for making a podcast. Let's start a podcast, or, dogging for the movies and all of that stuff. These movies have been out for a while. They've made a lot of money. People are famous for a reason. And at the end of the day, everybody has their own opinions. So
the thing with cancel culture is I think the intention isn't terrible in that it's like there are things going on in this world, maybe things that are promoted in media or entertainment that people are like, this isn't good, let's... But I feel like there's a balance, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, if you don't like something that's a song or a movie or a TV show or some kind of piece of art in any kind of way, you can choose not to participate in it.
Yeah, and sometimes things just don't hit right.
Yeah.
There was some things that The Rock said in the movie that I was like, that's not right. Yeah. That definitely would not be correct in today's terms, and it's not. Yeah. That's why I say cancel culture. But at the same time, again, it was just a joke, and at that time, it really wasn't thought about it as much. So
yeah. Now we're ready for the AI plot summary. Do you want to tell us a little about this particular AI plot summary?
So we did this for yous guys, my little Wisconsin people. I'm just kidding. This is an AI plot summary that is in the voicing of anger and frustration with the movie. Kind of more along my character in this and role in this podcast, because I do love, I like the movies. I did grow up on them, like I said. I don't remember any of them, so watching it's like I'm getting new perspective on it, which is even better because I'm adult Bailey now, so.
No more childhood beating up boys in recess and defending women, girls.
I just didn't know what I was doing.
Adult Bailey.
I didn't know what was going on.
Bitter and
I didn't have a brain like that.
One last job. She's in her.
One last job. One. Anyways, short and angry AI plot summary. You ready for this? Let's go. Catch a ride with us as we go into Fast and Furious 6. Is a 130-minute affront to filmmaking that caters to the lowest common denominator. Y'all are important, by the way.
You're not the lowest common
You're not
denominator.
The lowest common denominator. That's 0, by the way. The plot is a jumbled mess of cliches. Dom Toretto's Vin Diesel crew is offered full pardons for their past crimes if they help British agent Luke Hobbs, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Also, he's British, but he doesn't have a British accent.
The AI is wrong. He's not even British. He's full-fledged American muscle.
That's just my interjection. Anyways, so The Rock take down a former British Special Forces soldier turned mercenary Owen Shaw, which is Luke Evans. Things get personal when they learn Letty Ortiz, Michelle Rodriguez, Dom's amnesiac ex-girlfriend, has joined Shaw's team. But who cares about the story? It's just a flimsy excuse for increasingly absurd action sequences. I did mention to Drew that if we were to take out all of the races, that it would probably be about 40 minutes of a movie, kind of like of the drive-arounds and stuff like that. They got about 5 minutes to 10 minutes of those scenes. So I'm thinking we could cut out probably about 20 to 30 minutes of that movie without that. But then it's not Fast and Furious. So cars defy physics is what's going on. Jumping between skyscrapers and taking minimal damage from massive crashes. Makes no sense. Just like the people, by the way. They're taking minimal damage from multiple crashes. A tank rampages down a highway, destroying everything in its path. Kind of like that last movie with the bank. Same thing, except it's a tank this time. Imagine that.
Better. Bigger and better.
Bigger and better. Faster and furiouser. Shut up. The climax features a giant Antonov AN-124 cargo plane. Wow, that's specific.
I did not know it.
Trying to take off on the world's longest runway while the heroes use their cars as missiles. So this AI is really into planes and stuff, I think.
Big aviation fan.
That's cool. That's cool. It's like they took every bad 80s action movie and mashed them together. That hurts me.
I feel like what they meant to say is it's like they took every good 80s
yeah.
together.
The dialogue is cringeworthy. Yes. One-liners and the characters are one-dimensional stereotypes. Yeah. Vin Diesel mumbles his way through the movie. Dwayne Johnson is wasted as a generic tough guy. And Michelle Rodriguez looks confused the whole time. Aw,
She has amnesia. She is confused.
Oh my goodness. Now this is something. It says it's a mindless, soulless cash grab that insults your intelligence. Okay, avoid this trash at all costs. Anyway, I get it. I mean, she does have amnesia, but she kind of got in an explosive car crash and got kind of thrown into the woods. So, stuff happens.
Yeah.
But, dang, that's not fair.
My favorite thing about AI writing stuff like this is you can tell it what kind of tone to be. So we made her sound angry at this. If you all have a suggestion for what our next AI plot summary tone should be, whether you want sad, confused, happy, another angry one, in love, we can do whatever.
It should be romance based.
Let's try to do that for the next Fast and Furious 7, because we all know Fast and Furious is known for their romance stories.
Yeah, especially the fleeting ones.
Oh my goodness! In this movie alone, what were our romances? We had Dom and Letty, we had Han and Giselle, and we had Brian and Mia. It's I don't know.
Brian and Mia. I don't know.
At some point, when they
I know they have a kid, but I'm still not convinced.
I had a moment where they in the movie when he figured out that she was being held hostage. Did you think for a second be good, let her die. Like, for a second, I was really hoping Hawes would be like, that's okay.
It was that, and also it was the fact when they were standing in the warehouse, and he was like, I've got I've got her. I guess I got your wife. But you had both the brother and the husband, technically, there in the warehouse, and I looked at Rachel again, and I was like, you got the brother there. That's blood that's literally tied to this girl's hip her whole life, and he's not even flinching, and then he's like, I'm gonna kill you, Paul Walker's character. So I'm like, you're acting a little unhinged, brother. Like, I get it, but I'd probably take lessons from this guy over here, try to figure out, maybe he's acting chill for a reason, but I'm just thinking too deeply into this movie.
Or maybe Dom has lived with Mia for so long, and he's like, you know what, just kill her.
Yeah, I'm tired of her.
I got other family. I don't need her.
She's done had her miles.
Yeah. We don't own that sandwich shop together anymore.
She was the one that wanted the tuna.
At any point in any of these movies, I would love for Vin Diesel to turn, and it would have to be Mia. Like, he'd have to turn to her and be like, kind of makes you miss managing the old tuna shop, huh? Like, as he's like surviving an explosion, like, never had to deal with this when I was balancing those books. Like, I just like, and even this movie,
been you.
When Owen and Dominic, they meet for the first time, and Owen's like, started out stealing DVD players, and now you're doing this. Like, at least he acknowledges the craziness of like, and then he's like, yeah. No. So I would have loved for Vin Diesel, like, yeah, I kind of miss the tuna sandwiches or something. I don't know. Like,
crustless.
Right?
Without any milk.
So we, so this is, see, here's the thing about these movies, before I make fun of them more. I do think the thing with Fast and Furious movies
make fun of your
is
friends.
They're fun, they're ridiculous, they're
the
over
point.
the top, and I love them, and I love this point in the series where, like, they know they're over the top.
Right.
And part of the dialogue is them making fun of themselves. I feel like Roman's character, especially now,
I love him.
He's like he's like the Deadpool of
he's
the
so funny.
FU.
Yeah,
he
is.
He breaks he just
fifth
talks
wall.
about anyone who's like, these movies are dumb and have no plots. I feel like Fast and Furious would be like, yeah, we know, and we do have nice cars. We do have action sequences. Fun fact, they also, I don't know if it was for this movie, but I read something where, like, the U.S. military has signed off them using particular vehicles and stuff for their movies before, which is super fun for the Fast and Furious. But, like, what if in 2013 we had some kind of, like, battle we were in? Like, man, we just need one more tank. Yeah, about that.
It's on the set of Fast and Furious. We ruined that. I'm sorry. It fell off a bridge in a fatal explosion.
We are one tank down. So,
oh my gosh.
But it'll be worth it when you see this movie. So, here's some Fast fan feedback. Here's some people things that people said. First of all, one of my friends, or a couple of my friends, Mario and Erica, they are part of a comedy group called the Humor Collective, and they commented on Instagram. He said their favorite quote was when Hobbs was like, "If you want to catch wolves, you got to get wolves."
I immediately howled after that.
I love that.
I was like,
that was the best thing he said. That was like Fast Five Hobbs, which I was a fan of. Like, that was
the wolf pack.
And then they also made fun of. They said that the love stories were fire emoji. Can you imagine if someone's like, my favorite part about Fast and Furious is the romance? Like, that's just the best stuff in the movies. Like, I don't. Every time they try to have a romantic scene in that movie, I'm just like, I don't care. Like,
the only romance in it's between Dom and Letty. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm still not convinced. I don't even know how this child appeared. How did they happen? I know how it happened. There were two scenes.
When a mommy and a daddy, they do have scenes.
Love each other very much.
Right. Then the miracle. They don't even have to love each other. They could just be a potentially underage girl at a tuna shop and an undercover cop who's overage that just decides to. Anyway,
miss every shot.
Or you could be on the run from the police, and the worst possible time to do it and have a baby.
Yeah, baby.
And then you could survive falling through sewers and being attacked by tons of people, but still have birth.
Mm-hmm. Because it's family.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes perfect sense. So, this next feedback we got was from Jason T. Mallory on Reddit.
Yeah.
Yes,
Reddit.
Yes, I like the Reddit people. I get a little annoyed with the TikTok people. I'll be honest. I've said it before.
Reddit's the most authentic.
But I like when we post things on Reddit. Like I love people's responses.
Reddit's awesome.
I've enjoyed interacting with
Shout
people
out
on Reddit.
Reddit.
Yeah, so I'm a fan of the even if I've never meet you or see you, I'm a fan of your comments. So this is what Jesse. This is not Jason. It might even be. I might have completely misgendered and misnamed this person. Jesse T. Mallory says, "I love this one. Owen Shaw and his crew were fantastic foils to the family, and Letty returning and all of the conflicts within her throughout the movie made the story so good throughout. I do love Letty.
Yeah.
Letty's one of my favorite characters in the movies.
Yeah.
By far the best.
She's
female
a bomb
character.
actor in general, though.
Absolutely,
too.
yeah. And I forgot about it because having seen the whole series, I already know Letty's one of my favorites. But I forgot about it until I rewatched. This is kind of like the first one that you see a lot of her, and she was in the first one.
And the first one that showcases bad mamma girl fight.
Yeah.
You know?
And then she was a little bit in the fourth one.
Yeah.
And I liked her in the fourth one.
Yeah.
And then we just didn't see her except for her dying. Jesse also said, the stealth car was awesome. The martial arts and parkour were upped once again from previous films. Yep, keep and then they said, I generally rank this one high on my list when I rank on the franchise. So
cool.
Jesse was a fan of Fast 6.
Cool.
Jeremy from Facebook, however, he's one of our regulars. We love Jeremy.
We love you.
He says, this one was a fun ride to the bottom, but was left a bit wanting with Shaw as the villain. I grew to appreciate him a bit more as the film went on, but Hobbs was a much better villain than the previous flick. That said, with this being the last fully completed film by Paul Walker, it sits in a special place for me. Also, the plane was a solid action sequence. That was an iconic part of the series. That's very true. That's the biggest complaint people have of Fast 6, Furious 6. And it's kind of dumb because the whole movie's ridiculous. But the biggest critique I see about this movie is people talk about what an irrationally long runway that is. They're that could never happen.
That could never happen.
And
they ended at the end of the runway?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
How ironic.
So, and if you go online, you can actually see people do math to tell you how long the runway would be and how realistic. I didn't get into all that other than because nothing about me.
They were going at least 80 miles per hour.
When I'm watching this movie, I'm not, it's well, that's not factually accurate. No, of course it's not.
No, neither is... most of what they do.
I can't imagine anyone gets to that point in the movie and man, they were on board with everything until this moment. This is where it kind of jumps.
Even the hatch was down. Literally the ramp was down the entire time that they were going, and nobody flew out besides, obviously purposeful things to show that somebody's really dying or whatever.
I think this movie does have the dumbest use of NOS in the NOS harpoon gun.
What?
They literally let's have NOS guns.
What is this? I feel like it's turned into some sort of, it's like a Kmart Avengers.
Avengers, but for the middle class.
Avengers assemble. Assemble our guns, because we don't have any. We're too far to afford them, so we have to build them.
There's let's just, Now we get to talk about our opinions of these movies.
Okay.
So
I feel like I've.
Do you want to break the ice or should I?
Go for it.
I'm holding on to my rock rampage.
Hold on to your rock.
It's
break
ready.
it. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's and I didn't think about this until this rewatch.
Okay.
I've never had this problem before, but for whatever reason, maybe it's because we're intentionally looking deeper into the movies.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but this bothered me so much.
Good.
I think I hate just about everything about The Rock's character in this movie. Here's my biggest problem. I really liked him in Fast 5, and I loved this whole you're just a name on my list. You're just a paper that comes and I'm gonna find you if you want to get wolves. I'll get the wolves. This whole I'm gonna it ends with him letting Dom go, but he's I'll see you soon, Toretto. And then at the beginning of this movie, the first thing we see him, it's supposed to oh, is that Vin Diesel? And it's not. But the first thing is I've been chasing these people for months, and then he's going to Vin Diesel and asking for help. I'm just you should be we don't get to. We need like a fast 5.5 where we see The Rock going after Vin Diesel and his crew, and for whatever reason, like, to me, if I were to rewrite this movie, I would have had more conflict between The Rock and Vin Diesel. Well, in the movie, not outside of the movie, but like, I would want to see more tension where like he doesn't want to work with them. He's not It's like it would have been cool if in the movie it started with him still chasing the Fast crew, but then a new threat arises, and then of course he sees the plot and because they do have kind of a flimsy, like, if they get these three pieces together, it's over for us, like, so when they realize that, then he's like, I guess I have to work, or maybe his superior is like, I'm gonna need you to work with Dominic Toretto, where he doesn't want to.
Yeah, because he's still part of the police, right?
And is he not the worst cop that
isn't he supposed
existed?
To be a part of the law?
He is 100%.
He's supposed to be a part.
He's a police officer. He's 100% the law. But here's what we know about him as a police officer from the 2 movies.
He sucks.
He sucks. He let the people go at the end of the movie. Even Smug, like, man, you gotta respect that. His interrogation scene. That seemed like a little illegal.
It was so illegal.
And like at the end there, now I get why when it became clear that Shaw was holding Mia hostage and the kid,
right,
and the whole Fast family is like, well, we can't, like, but he should have been. He should have been like not as easy to be like, this changes everything. He should have had a problem with that. Mm-hmm. And then somehow there was no like emotional turmoil in him switching sides from working with the police to not.
Yeah, like he was just such a problematic character.
And I liked him when he was a foil to Vin Diesel and the family, but like him as an ally, as a character, like, I don't know, it bothered me. Also, like, his line, he didn't have as many goofy lines.
He had such bad lines. Who came up with those?
Maybe he did. He's like, let me write my own dialogue.
That's what I'm thinking. He might have, honestly, because he did work in WWE, and I'm not finding that much of a difference from what he said from Fast and Furious in WWE.
Honestly, like, he's like, just write your own.
Like,
we know in the past that Fast and Furious isn't shy about letting the characters do their own dialogue. Like in Fast 2, Paul Walker and Roman Pierce did their own stuff, and it was so funny. Cute. Actually,
theirs was cute though.
The best scenes that we do see with The Rock in this movie with Agent Hobbs, is when he's interacting with Tyrese/Roman. Like, they do have, and
they're funny.
And that scene at the end of the movie where he's like, I smell baby oil. He's like, something about your fat forehead. That was a completely improvised line, and so you actually see Ludacris like spit his water out.
Yeah,
because
we were like, that's an authentic spit take.
Yeah, it was. They kept that because it was just something he said.
It was funny.
So I don't know. That was. My biggest problem was just The Rock, man. I had a hard time. That
sucks too, yeah, because that was another part of my childhood was The Rock. I mean, he was, and now for some reason I just don't feel the same.
He's gotten into some spicy waters lately.
He has gotten into some spicy waters,
and I'm so for either our next podcast episode for the next movie, or I feel like it might be 8 though, because it might be more relevant to when
the Fate
of the Furious happens. But like, we will take some time to really dive deep into like the beef between him and Vin Diesel.
We should definitely do that
because it's weird. But I do know in recent years, like with his whole, do you know the whole thing with him and like Black Adam and his character, and what he got in so much trouble with that?
I don't know exactly I knew that there was controversy though.
Yeah, so he and this is it, but it's similar to the stuff we hear about with the Fast and Furious stuff. So Black Adam is a known like villain to the Shazam series. So the ending of Black Adam should have the idea was Shazam was going to show up at the end, and it was going to tie in or suggest a movie where like Shazam versus the Black Adam, which is like a comic book. Greatness. Like that's their big enemies. However, Black Adam's also been in like some Superman stuff too, and so The Rock himself said, "I won't do this movie unless like the only person who's a good enough match for Black Adam is Superman." So, like, he insisted. And the crazy part is, like, the DCU was like, okay, we don't want to lose this big-name actor. So that's why they changed the ending to Black Adam, so the cameo wasn't Shazam, it was Superman, because The Rock was like, oh, the only one big enough to take me on is Superman. And he had similar issues in Fast and Furious, and the directors, again, being like, he's such a big name, we're not going to, fire him or anything like that. We're going to give him his own spin-off movie. And it's just like, can you imagine a world where you are such a big deal that when you pitch a tantrum, people don't, in most cases, they're like, you're an adult, act like it, we're the writers, you're the actor. But for The Rock, frequently people are like, oh, well, we don't want to lose you, so here's your own movie.
Yeah, let's be stronger than the Man of Steel himself.
Yeah, so
All right.
And I always do my best to, like, when I hear things and read things about, like, actors, like, in part of me, I'm like, there's always a bias to whatever you're reading or whatever. And so, like, I don't want... But, like, I feel like with The Rock, you start reading enough different things that you're like, maybe there's something. So, and we'll talk about it in one of the upcoming movies, but, like, he totally, at one point in one of the... I think it was Fast 8... was having issues with that cast, and he started tweeting about it. I mean, he deleted the tweets, but you can still, like, yeah, he was like, if it seems,
Twitter.
Yeah, he's like, if it seems like I'm not getting along with certain, like, he called, like, certain cast members candy asses. He was like, he lost it, man. And
Dude.
And then you see in later movies, especially him and Vin Diesel are never in the same scene. It's similar to that really ridiculous last scene of this movie where they're at the cookout and they're standing next to each other but looking completely different ways. Like, I never thought I could trust a cop. I'm like, who talks like that to each other? I just wanted them to go off to, like, a scene with, like, Mia or Brian or Letty even, and just have one of them like, what the heck are they doing?
I know.
Like, why are they looking at each other
it's
like that?
One of those really uncomfortable moments of, like, will they or will they not?
Yeah, right. The tension's still there.
This tension's crazy. But also at the same time, it's like, you're just uncomfortable. Like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Why?
It's like the fourth love triangle. Also, speaking of love triangles.
What did I?
Let's talk about...
This is weird.
Right at the beginning of the movie, like, this is where I confess, I do not... I know I don't know much about the female mind. So I might be missing something here. So we're going to talk about it together.
We got your second half. Let's go.
Beginning of the movie, Dominic Toretto wakes up with Elena with a nice smile from movie 1. Or from movie 5.
Yes.
Right? Okay, cool. They're a thing. I'm okay with it. In his mind, Letty's dead.
I mean,
I get that.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and supposedly, we know at least several months have gone by since movie 5.
Yeah, so it's not
maybe
as
longer than
rash.
that. Because The Rock was like, I've been chasing these guys for months. But, so Dom and Elena are a thing. He figures out Letty's still alive. And so I get it from his perspective. Man, she's the one I really love. I need to go after her. I need to, all that kind of stuff. But from that point forward, Elena is, like, so chill. Like, yeah, sure, go for it. At the end of the movie, she's like, if you can be with her, if she was my husband, I would be doing the same thing. Right. At one point, Dom is like, you don't have to go. Like, he was proposing, like, what do you think about, like, the three of us? Like, maybe? Like, no? Okay, well.
Yeah.
She seemed so cool about the whole, like, I'm gonna go find my dead ex-girlfriend who's actually alive and also not my ex anymore. I'm gonna bring her back. I'm also gonna leave you for her. And the whole time she's like, that makes sense. Am I missing something?
I mean, I think that the Dom Letty thing, although they weren't married, they had a very, like, causal effect relationship. So, like, they were pretty strong and heavy.
Yeah.
24/7.
Absolutely. I mean,
and very passionate.
Yeah.
So, but also a lot of background. I mean, they met when she was, like, 14 or something like that? 14 or 15, I think, is when he was saying, at least for, like, earlier years and stuff. So, I mean, you're going all the way back to that with a relationship with somebody in a sexual romantic relationship for that long and that attached to your family.
In episode 1.
Literally. So, like, yeah. I mean, for the girl to understand, and also the woman, into a woman's mind, I guess. Into a good-hearted person's mind, actually. The woman is more understanding of, like, this situation. She is understanding the situation because of her losing that husband. So if that husband were to turn out not to be dead, obviously she's going to run to that guy even if his memory was completely just kaput, because I'd be the same way. Like, if my spouse, if my partner had turned out dead, or I thought they were dead, and then they ended up not being dead and just having a memory wipe, I'm going to do everything in my freaking ability to try to, like, get them to recall me or something, or I don't know. I get it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's love.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the perspective that I appreciate, I mean, the insight I got there from is the reason she was so cool about this was because similar to Dom, she had lost a big love.
It's a true
and
love.
So she was able to see that, like, then it also is really ridiculous that she's like, and I'm joining the police again. Really, you've been on the run for months with this criminal, and they're just like, yeah, come on, you can work for Agent Hobbs. He's such a good cop that you guys would be great together.
Yeah, she wants to go to that one. Now, that one didn't make sense to me. Maybe she just wanted to rebound, but I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, okay, that helps it make a little bit more sensible for me. Let's check in with all the characters, because there's a bunch. There's a lot going on. I did love that intro when you got to kind of see that, oh man, these people have been in several movies. We're like invested in them.
Quite a few.
So first we got Bryan O'Connor. He is, by the way, my favorite.
He has
Fast
evolved a lot,
character.
probably the most.
We've seen him grow the most, not just him, but like Paul Walker as an actor.
Right.
Like
actually
scenes,
good.
Yeah, like he's actually doing well as an actor, whereas when you compare that to like the first movie.
It's rough.
And I mean, the second movie he was more goofy, which probably acting, but like
it was a little more authentic.
Yeah,
though.
like he's got some parts here where he's like, you see some depth. And here's the thing, by movie 5, this becomes the Vin Diesel movies. Like, he's the main character.
Yeah.
But part of me has a problem with that because, like, it started more so the Paul Walker movies. Like, he was the main character in 1.
Yeah.
He was definitely the main character in 2.
Yeah.
And then 4, they both were kind of side-by-side main characters. But 5 was when there's, like, and, you know, there was a producer role given to Vin. So, like, that's when they shifted to 4. So, like, I feel like we don't see as much as him, but I feel like he's just as big of a deal.
I mean, yeah. One of the things that I wonder is, wait, when did we lose Paul Walker? Like, what?
This was the first one that he was fully in. 7, he was filming part.
And then he died in the 7th.
So
that's what I thought.
So 7, when you see 7, it will be some of him, real him, but it will be a lot of CGI him.
Yeah.
Because during the filming of that movie was when his car crash happened. So Bryan is doing less, but still awesome.
Right.
Roman, I love that they keep to his character. I love that he's always hungry. I love that there's that snack.
He's not as much as a role in this. He doesn't have as much of a role.
No, but he's comic relief.
But he is.
Yeah. But he also does really good at stating the things to make fun of that we're already make fun of.
Yeah.
Like, so when he's like, these guys look just like us. Like, and it's like, well, yeah.
Because they are.
I love the scene where him and Han are getting their butt kicked by the...
by one guy.
Yeah, one guy.
I'm sorry. We had 2 females that were equal opportunity, homie. Y'all are a bunch of weenies.
I love that in Fast and Furious. Women are only allowed to fight other women. Well, unless if the women's winning.
Those women.
But they intentionally do not show any scenes where, like, The Rock is, like, beating up a woman. Like.
Yeah, the women's fighting skills just were so impressive to me because they were, like, kicking out these flying, like, rolling roundhouses or whatever, flying roundhouses in the air and kicking people in the face and, like, cracking the back of your knee and all that. I'm like,
right. Ouch.
But also, dang.
Michelle Rodriguez and the MMM lady from The Mandalorian, good fight scenes.
That's some pretty good stuff right there. That's all I need.
And I like that.
Hey, that's the better fight. The guys are kind of stupid. They're not even winning.
No, it's cheesy. Like when The Rock headbutts a guy.
I know she didn't win, but I mean, she should have seen the other guy. Is kind of how I felt.
She did win. Like they had the first fight where Letty didn't win.
Yeah.
But then the second one, it ended with her like harpooning her out of a plane. So I call that a win.
Yeah, that's right.
She's like, wrong team. Bitch.
Crap.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Tesh. What do we think about Tesh?
I like him.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, he's also like a comedy relief. He kind of has about the same. Well, he has a little bit more of a role than Roman. Mm-hmm. He's more like their analyst, I guess. Yeah. Kind of like their techie guy or something, or the guy that makes the plans or something.
So there's 2 things about Tesh that I think. First of all,
smart IT guy.
They never give him any kind of backstory. In the last movie, all we hear is like, I had a life before this.
Right.
Never do we know. Like he's the only character that we don't know anything about, and it's just so that they can make him do whatever they want. But
pretty much.
The other thing about him is like he is maybe the most essential part of the team because they couldn't do any of the things they do without him. And he always has like, I have something for that. Yeah. Oh, you need a replacement safe? I can get one.
Yeah, he's like, they just brought down all of their IP or Wi-Fi or networks, hacked into all of their networks. I'm like,
course he did.
One laptop. That
Right.
makes so much sense.
And then Letty, best female character.
Best female character, 100%.
One of my favorites of the whole family. I think she's genuinely the only female character I feel like is good in the movies. Like, I mean, I don't much care about Giselle. Love Wonder Woman, but
obviously,
but
she wasn't at her peak.
Yeah,
yet.
no, she just doesn't. The thing about her and Hans is, and this goes to just Hans in general for me. Everything I like about Hans is because I know he's gonna die. I know, like, Tokyo Drift is coming.
Yeah.
And so, like, it makes because, like, then you, like, see the love story between him and Giselle, and you're like, oh, that's cute. They're not going to be able to fully be happy together. They're planning for the future, but he doesn't have a future. Like,
Man.
Like, it's
the hero's tragedy effect.
I feel like that's what makes Han so much fun to watch. Is because
Yeah.
you're like, and he keeps alluding, like, yeah, I'm going to go to Tokyo eventually. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are, because you have no reason to live anymore, homie.
Yeah.
One of the scenes that just stood out to me for some reason, which is just the stupid random scene, was just the girls like in the little subway when they were fighting originally.
Yeah.
They fell down the stairs. Like that brief clip it was just them rolling down the stairs like do 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 do
Yeah.
do. And I was like,
That was
so
painful.
did they change out the actors just for like that 2 second?
We're going to need you two just to roll
We just
down
need-
those stairs. Yes, it'll be painful,
We need
but...
two strangers to just throw themselves down the steps. That's what I was thinking. I don't know. That's just
What if that was someone's first role? Like, I finally got a role in
context.
the movie. What are you doing? I'm rolling down subway steps.
I'm rolling down subway steps #1.
I had to break my arm, but I'm in Hollywood now. Like, it's fine.
We had to do it 3 times. I was going too far to the right.
They're like, that just didn't look painful enough. Do it again.
Do it again.
But I'm bloody. Like, I don't, I can't, like, that's okay. We'll make it look good. In the scene in London, when Dom is racing Letty, which we didn't talk about, that was a pretty cool scene.
That was a
fun.
cool scene.
I really enjoyed their chemistry. That's where you
Yeah.
saw it.
The reconnect.
And it was, but see, like, they're so weird
They're
as
so
characters,
weird.
so that when they're just rubbing each other's scars and talking about them sensually, I was like, gross, but also this makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I can see both these
got the
characters.
one to match.
Yeah. And I didn't know this because I hadn't seen it, but they were referencing the little 20-minute movie Vin Diesel made before Fast 4, where it was like almost like tells more about the love story between him and Letty.
Aww.
And so, like, when they're like, yeah, we got that falling down coral reefs or whatever, that was part of the movie. So they were
That's
like,
so
yeah.
cute. Sorry.
Yeah.
Start squeaking. Gets my sap.
Here's the thing about Fast and Furious. Are they absolutely ridiculous? Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes do they seem like there's no thought put into it whatsoever?
Yes.
Absolutely. But then there's moments where you think maybe they know they're as dumb as they are and they're doing it
Yeah.
on purpose and they have them and they're still like overall putting it. So the message of this movie I thought was good. The overall motif, which was, you know, after the last movie, all the main characters were billionaires. They had everything they wanted, but they still didn't have what they want. They alluded to it at the beginning of the movie. They're just like, yeah, we don't have home. And then, after Vin Diesel had his action hero almost death.
Yeah.
And the plane blew up and he drives out of it, but then the car crashes and then he still walks out of it. It was all these big moments.
And he was the only one.
Yeah, he's the only
What are
one.
the odds?
Yeah. So-
Can't kill Vin Diesel.
no, it's impossible. I mean, earlier in the movie, he got shot and he pulled his own bullet out. Like, at this point, I would, like, you can't. When they were like, what do you want? And he names the house's address.
Yeah.
Right, from the very first movie. And then they have that last scene back at that house. And that's, like, the greater message. Is like, you can
was cute.
have everything. You can have all the things, but home is home.
Home is home.
And, I mean, this would have been a perfectly fine movie to end the franchise with because they were finally back in their house, free, whatever. Of course, I feel like that's the fun part about these movies now is they can end it at any point, but they just kind of keep going.
Yeah.
But this would have been like a fitting ending because they finally, for the first time since movie 1, weren't on the run. They
That's
were
true.
finally back home. They were finally able to look out at their sidewalk and like, hey, there's a place where Jesse got gunned down in movie 1. Memories. So they can finally just enjoy life back home. It's not weird that like all this terrible stuff happened. Like, no, it's
Let's
still
go
home.
back.
So he can finally go get his job back at the deli if he wants.
Like, it's such a broken down looking area. I get it. I really, really get it. But at least fix it up a little bit.
Right?
Like, you've got the money, and it's not like you're changing it or, like, you know, changing it completely from the foundations. Like, at least just renovate it and make it, like, more functional or something. You got a lot of money, man. Look at your cars, dude.
Yeah, I think all their money
Now
goes
you look like a drug cartel.
All their money goes into their cars, or...
got, like, 5 fancy supercars with a crappy house? What are you, a meth... It's like a meth house.
We're up for Bailey's Best Bits now. What do we got going on this month, Bailey?
So, we've got Most Unhinged as our scenes for
Love
this
it.
time around. Because, I mean, this movie was like, you knew who the good guys were. But ultimately, in a moral stance, there were no good guys. So...
I mean, like, they saved the world at the end, or saved America at the end.
I guess so, while also destroying an entire tons of civilians. And
Yeah, but it was London. There's no
right,
people in
it's
London.
London. It doesn't matter. Oh my gosh.
That's true.
Dang. Anyway, yeah. So we've got the. I guess I could do this in order. Yeah. So Hobbs beating the man up in the witness room, trying to do that, and then you've also got Gal Gadot's death as well. Then you got the tank scene. So those are the three most unhinged that I've come up with. Yeah.
Those are all unhinged moments.
Yeah. Definition of unhinged.
But I'm going to vote out Gal Gadot's one for my pick, just because I mean, that sucked, but I didn't feel like it was crazy. I mean, it was just. It happens to the best of us when we're, fighting off a plane and terrorists. It could have happened to any of us. It's fine. The tank was my favorite scene in the movie, in the whole movie. But I feel like in Fast and Furious mythology, it's all believable. Yeah, go ahead and anchor it. That makes sense. Just jump from a car and then save her and land on another car and then,
grab
walk
in the
out
air.
of it. It's totally fine. So I think for the most unhinged moment, I'm going to go that open scene where The Rock is throwing him around because, everyone's like, this is a terrible cop. And they're like, who's going to stop him? I'm like, no one. Okay, let's keep going. So that's my pick for most unhinged moment, The Rock and the interrogation scene.
That's where we're around each other. It's unfair.
Right?
I try to change things up. Am I that predictable? Do I keep doing the first choice?
You're getting a head shake from...
Okay, good.
I think it's just I'm really good at reading people.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's true. It's true though. The definition of unhinged, Hobbs is supposed to be a good guy. He's literally destroyed. Not only is he hurting this man, physically assaulting the crap out of him, to almost near death, pretty much. But also he's destroying government property practically.
Right.
It's city property.
Yeah, who's gonna fix
very
that room?
legal property. Exactly. Who the heck is gonna fix that?
Villain rankings. So
Villain rankings.
This time we had Owen Shaw.
Yeah.
And I'll go first because I'm gonna go ahead and give him the top spot on my rankings for villains.
Okay.
Because I think, as far as the villains we've seen so far, he's worse than all the other ones.
Okay.
And so currently I have him down for number 1, and then the rest of them are Carter, Braga, DK, Reyes, and Tran.
This guy, honestly, I think maybe is a little bit below Carter for me.
Okay.
Everything else is the same, I suppose, otherwise.
Is it because of the rat scene?
Yeah.
That was
the rat scene is just unfortunate. What are you doing? Why? That's unhinged.
Yeah.
Really. Innocent people is my thing. Which, then again, well, the tank scene, that was pretty bad. He killed a lot of civilians.
And the fact that, he was, letting go up there knowing that she was putting herself in a
That's
really
also
dangerous
true.
spot.
Yeah, he is actually the worst. Never mind. I guess I will just be a sheeple and follow what Drew's list is.
I mean, I'm usually not wrong. So that's not true. Okay. I'm usually not wrong about Fast and Furious related things. So the movie rankings. So I'm ranking this by how I've been enjoying the movies this rewatch. I've actually written blog posts about movie rankings of this before, and if you read that blog post today, it would be completely different than what I have going on, and that's okay.
Oh.
So I still think I like 5 better than this movie. I also think I like 2 better than this movie. So I'm going to put it down for my third spot. So currently my rankings are movie 5, movie 2, movie 6, 4, 1, and 3. And again, 3 is low, not because I think it's less good than 1. I think if you took the movie out of the series, it would alter the least amount. I mean, it's kind of like, it's almost like a standalone, like Tokyo Drift brought to you by Fast and Furious.
That makes sense.
So.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, for me, I think it would be 2, 5, 6, 4, 1, 3.
Okay.
Just because I liked the last movie pretty well.
Last movie was fun. It was, and I feel like it was.
They didn't kill off my gal.
Yeah, your gal.
Gadot.
So that was a bummer.
That was a bummer, and the way that she died. That's why that is in my Unhinged, because the whole scene, she literally let herself go when she could have just stayed and helped him fight. I don't understand any of what had happened. Also, she was probably literally just right there on the little run track, whatever, gasping for air like a freaking fish out of water. Maybe she was alive, like Letty. Hello, she survived a freaking explosion and had her memory wiped, and now she's back. Why did y'all just assume?
I mean, is anyone ever dead in Fast and Furious?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yes. 3 people so far.
3 people. So far. Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, right now, our movie rankings are such where I have 5 as number 1, you have 2 as number 1, and then I have 2 as number 2. Nice. And you have 5 as number 2. And then from that point forward, we're both 6,
pretty
4,
similar.
1, and 3. So that's cool. We should be more different, but or not.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to be different, I guess.
So we have another quarter mile spotlight for you guys. This is something we started last month. The point of our quarter mile spotlight is we find creatives that we know, local, or since it's a podcast, local is a very not defined term. Local is in that we know they exist or they reach out to us. And it's just someone doing something cool, and we like to highlight them, and then we like to give you opportunity to learn more or enjoy what they do. And it's a creative usually. And so this spotlight for this month is a good friend of mine named Bryan Upshaw. We actually went to college together. He has a doctorate in education. He's a Spanish teacher in East Tennessee. A very cool guy, very good friend. He started an organization called the GTAS Foundation. And it's an organization that helps start businesses in Tanzania, which in turn creates space and opportunity for work for young adults. He's starting with 3 people right now that he knows personally, and he's partnering with organizations in Tanzania, and then he's also helping raise money over here in America for the organizations. What's really cool about Bryan and this mission is he's done several mission trips to Tanzania. I remember in college he went there frequently. Often, and he also he's always kind of had an entrepreneurial spirit. Yep. I remember in college he actually used to like buy DVDs and he ran like selling DVDs like to other people for like he's always had like a hey we can start a business out of it. He bought them and then just sold them for more. I don't know if that's illegal. It sounds isn't that what everything is though? Yeah. Like we buy it and we sell it for more. Yeah. But he's always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and he's always had a passion for these people, and just passion for people in general, but especially the people he met with his mission work in Tanzania. And this whole project, this whole mission started with someone who he used to know on one of his trips reaching out to him. They were in a really tough situation, and you'll be able to go to the website. You could read her whole story if you want. It's crazy, honestly, but. She reached out to him, was like, here's the situation. He looked into it, saw that it was valid, reached out to people in Tanzania. They basically saved her life and livelihood. And that was kind of part of what helped him think, like, oh, I can start doing stuff to help these people that I know and build something bigger. And I know when people think of creatives and how we say we're spotlighting creatives, oftentimes you think of comedians, you think of musicians, you think of actors, you think of like art that we create. But I wanted to highlight him as our quarter mile spotlight this month because it takes creativity to start a nonprofit.
Right.
Anytime you're starting something from nothing, that's creative.
Exactly.
So I'm really impressed with him. And then here's his words about his business. We are starting 3 businesses in Tanzania, starting at the end of the month. We'll be purchasing a Gouda, which is like a motorcycle with a truck on the back of it, to employ a young man, his name's Kevin, as a professional driver who will transport goods for businesses. And then he said, we will either start a hair salon or partner with a hair salon to employ and train Juliet. That's a different person. She's the person who's got the crazy story about on his website. I say crazy, and I don't mean that's like she's crazy. I mean that is unbelievable, and it's really inspiring. We'll also be purchasing I'm sure I'm not pronouncing this correctly, a Boda Boda, which is essentially a motorcycle used for taxi services, to employ George. That's his third person. All 3 young adults have children, and Kevin is married. These jobs will transform their lives, allow for the reunification of Juliet's family, and will give the children the ability to stay in school and have an education.
Oh, man.
Isn't that awesome?
That's so awesome.
I love his words because, he uses, you can tell he's personally invested in these people. It's like he uses their name. It's like I'm like, I don't know who Kevin is, but he's like, that's how he's describing them. So on all of our notes in our podcast or on the YouTube description, I'll have all the links and the social medias where you can go learn more about this organization. You can learn about the stories. You can see what he's doing. There's ways you can give and contribute if you want to. When we give the people the opportunity to do this survey, we always ask them, what are your thoughts on Fast and Furious? And Brian gave me an exceptionally deep answer. So he said, I like to think I have some similarities with Bryan O'Connor, starting with the fact that they're both named Brian. Brian is an honest, hardworking guy who believes in justice and the law, but also realizes that sometimes life is complicated. Like Brian, I'm a white guy who's lived in a middle-class life. I trust the law and society to treat me fairly, but I have also seen people that don't have it so easy. I had a friend who was a U.S. citizen, but his mom was not. My friend's mother was dying back in Mexico, and she was the only child. She had to decide whether to go to Mexico and possibly never be able to return to the U.S. to see her son and husband, or whether to let her mother die alone. The first time I ever translated in court, he's a Spanish translator, first time I ever had to translate in court was to tell the pastor of my Hispanic church. The judge said he would have to go to jail because he was undocumented and his vehicle registration had expired. He had a wife and kids and would face the possibility of deportation.
Dang.
I was shaken as a translator because it was my first time in my life where I realized the law could be wrong and I had to treat someone good in an inhumane way. As a public school teacher, I have had students who have lost their parents, siblings, friends, dealt with abuse and trauma, and I can't always expect them to act like a professional middle-class person. Life is complicated, and like Brian, I feel pulled between 2 worlds. I appreciate the safe, honest, dependable, and respectful and professional middle-class world I grew up in and still mostly live in. However, I resent the idea that we should look down on others who live outside of this polite, comfortable, and often white middle-class bubble. Instead, we should be working as a bridge to help those that were not born with all of our privileges to achieve their goals and become the people God calls them to be.
Hey, heck yeah.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
That was all from me being like, what do you think about Fast and Furious? So like, yeah.
We want more responses like that.
I love that, yeah, so I appreciate that. And I just the whole time I was reading this, I was picturing that ending scene of Fast 4 where it has Bryan O'Connor driving the Charger, but instead it's like my friend Bryan Upshaw driving the Charger to go save the people in prison.
Oh, that was so sweet.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Thank you for keeping up with us. This has been a good talk. It's a fun movie. I think we made fun of a lot of it, but I mean, it's all in good humor.
Yeah, I'm not going to make fun of somebody that's not my friend.
Absolutely, yeah. We enjoy it. So a couple reminders. First of all, follow us on all the things, all the social medias, the Quarter Mile podcast on most things. And if you don't mind, like, share, comment. That helps us get out to more people. So please do that. Also, just a special note, come see us on September 21st for episode 9. Like, we got a little room at the High Tone in Memphis, Tennessee, and we're going to fill it up. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And it'll be, I mean, it is nice chatting with you, Bailey, about Fast and Furious. But I would love to have more people to chat with.
We would.
Honestly. So, yeah. So, what do you think? Anything else?
I think that you pretty much summed it up right there.
Okay, cool. Well, this has been fun. Here's a reminder to everyone. Have fun. Live your life a quarter mile at a time and have a great night.
Yeah.